She said at the engagement dinner, "I don't think you're husband material. I'm ending this." Her relatives laughed like it was entertainment. I said, "Great timing." Then I took the ring back and raised my glass to better decisions. Everyone went silent when I added, "I'm 34, and until last Saturday night, I thought I was weeks away from getting married." My fiancée Brittany and I had been together for 2.5 years. We met at a mutual friend's housewarming party here in Minneapolis, started dating shortly after, got engaged last October. The wedding was scheduled for late June. Everything seemed on track. We'd even been living together for 8 months in my uptown condo. Her family was intense. That's the kindest way to put it. Loud, opinionated, the kind of people who think brutal honesty is a personality trait. Brittany was usually different when we were alone, softer, more considerate. But around her family, she'd transform, start making jokes at my expense, join in when they'd mock. Something I'd said or done. I chalked it up to family dynamics. Everyone acts different around their relatives, right? This wasn't my first rodeo. I'd been engaged once before, about 6 years ago, when I was 28. That relationship ended badly too, but it taught me to recognize red flags. The difference was, I thought I could handle Brittany's family because I was older, more financially stable, more confident. I work as a financial analyst at a regional investment firm, make $75K a year, own my place outright. Solid foundation. I figured maturity and financial security would earn their respect eventually. The engagement dinner was her family's idea, not the original celebration dinner we'd had months ago when I proposed. This was a second one specifically because her aunt and uncle were visiting from Denver and needed to meet me properly before the wedding. Brittany insisted we do it, said it was important to her that everyone got along. I agreed because that's what you do when you love someone, even when you suspect you're walking into an ambush. The reservation was at Morton's downtown, private room for 12 people. Her parents, her 2 brothers and their wives, the aunt and uncle, 1 cousin, and us. I wore my best suit, brought a $250 bottle of Caymus Cabernet for the table, prepared myself mentally for an evening of her family's particular brand of humor. I'd learned to develop thick skin over 2.5 years, but something felt different this time, more predatory. Dinner started at 7 p.m. on Saturday. I got there 15 minutes early, reviewed my talking points like it was a business presentation. Her family rolled in exactly on time, loud and already laughing about something. Brittany arrived with her mother, Monica, looked beautiful in a black dress I'd bought her for Christmas, kissed my cheek, and immediately got pulled into a conversation with her aunt about wedding dress alterations. We ordered drinks, appetizers came. The conversation flowed, mostly them asking me questions that felt increasingly like a performance review. What did I do for work? How much did I make? What were my career ambitions? Where did I see myself in 10 years? Did I have a 5-year plan? What about life insurance? Her uncle was particularly aggressive with the interrogation, leaning back in his chair like he was conducting a job interview for a position I wasn't qualified for. I answered everything honestly, maybe too honestly in retrospect. Financial analyst, decent money, own my place, solid retirement contributions, conservative investment strategy. Not flashy, but stable, comfortable. Her uncle made a face and exchanged a look with her father, Richard. Comfortable, that's one way to put it. Everyone laughed, including Brittany. That laugh hit different. Not supportive, not affectionate, dismissive. Her older brother, Kevin, jumped in. What about ambition, though? Like, where's the drive, the hunger for more? I'm ambitious about the right things, I said. Financial security, building a life together, being a reliable partner. Reliable, her younger brother Danny repeated like it was a dirty word. That's what you want to put on your headstone? Here lies reliable guy. More laughter. I noticed Brittany wasn't defending me, just sitting there, occasionally smiling at their jokes at my expense. Dinner arrived around 8:15, prime ribeye, lobster tail, all the expensive sides. The wine was flowing freely. The bottle I brought, plus 2 more, Richard ordered to show he could afford better. The conversation shifted to the wedding. Monica was going through details, venue capacity, catering options, band selection, like she was planning a corporate merger instead of her daughter's celebration. Then her aunt asked the question that changed everything. So, are you excited to be joining this crazy family? I smiled, genuinely at first. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Kevin smirked. He says that now. Wait until he's stuck with us. permanently. Wait until he realizes what he signed up for. More laughter, but this time it felt meaner, more pointed. Seriously, though, Danny added, leaning forward with fake concern. You sure you're ready for this? Marriage is no joke, especially into this family. We eat weak men alive. I think so. I love your sister. That's what matters. Richard spoke up for the first time in a while, his voice carrying the weight of patriarchal authority. Love's important, but marriage is more than love. It's compatibility, partnership, being able to handle real life together, being able to lead a family. I agree. I think we handle real life well together. He didn't look convinced. Neither did anyone else at the table. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you seem like you're in over your head, like you're playing house instead of building a real partnership. I felt the shift in the room. Everyone was watching now. This wasn't dinner conversation anymore. This was an intervention, disguised as entertainment. I don't think I am, I said carefully, trying to maintain composure while my gut churned. Monica jumped in with false maternal concern. Sweetheart, your father's just saying that marriage is hard, harder than dating. You need to be absolutely certain. We all do. I am certain. But as I said it, I realized Brittany hadn't said anything, just sat there pushing her perfectly cooked steak around her plate, avoiding eye contact with everyone, especially me. The silence stretched uncomfortably until her aunt leaned forward with the expression of someone about to deliver a painful truth. Can I be honest? And I mean really honest? Sure. I don't see it. You two, I don't see the spark, the chemistry, the fire. You seem like nice roommates who happen to sleep in the same bed. I disagree. We have plenty of chemistry. Her uncle actually laughed out loud. Chemistry! He says chemistry! Kid, I've seen chemistry. This ain't it. The table laughed with him. Everyone except Brittany, who was now staring at her plate like it held the secrets of the universe. Monica turned to her daughter with theatrical concern. Honey, you've been quiet. What do you think about all this? Brittany looked up slowly. Her eyes met mine for exactly 1 second before darting away. I don't know. Those 3 words hit me like a physical blow. You don't know? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. I mean, they have a point. Sometimes I wonder if we're really right for each other. The bottom dropped out of my world. You're wondering this now? 3 weeks before the wedding? I've been wondering for a while. The table went completely silent. You could hear the kitchen staff through the walls, the distant clatter of dishes, the hum of the ventilation system. Everything except the sound of my heart trying to pound its way out of my chest. Why didn't you say something? My voice sounded hollow, like it was coming from someone else. I don't know. I thought it would pass. I thought I'd feel more certain as the date got closer. And you don't? She shook her head slowly, still not looking at me. No, I don't. Richard cleared his throat with the satisfied air of a man whose suspicions had been confirmed. Maybe this dinner was a good idea after all. Better to figure this out now than after the wedding. Save everyone a lot of trouble. I felt like I was underwater. Everything sounded muffled and far away. The expensive wine turned to vinegar in my mouth. The perfectly cooked steak might as well have been cardboard. So, what are you saying? I asked her directly, needing to hear the words even though I already knew. She took a deep breath, finally looked up, and met my eyes. For a moment I saw the woman I'd fallen in love with. Then that woman disappeared, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. I don't think you're husband material. I'm ending this. The words hung in the air like smoke. Kevin and Danny both laughed. Actually, laughed out loud, like she'd just delivered the punchline to a joke they'd been waiting for all evening. Her uncle was smirking into his wine glass, nodding approvingly. Her cousin looked shocked, but also entertained, like this was dinner theater, and she'd gotten front row seats to the show. I sat there for a moment, processing what had just happened. The woman I'd planned to marry had just broken up with me in front of her entire family. And they were treating it like entertainment, like I was the butt of some elaborate practical joke that everyone except me was in on. Then something clicked. Maybe it was Kevin's laugh, so genuine and delighted. Maybe it was the 2.5 years of her family treating me like an amusing pet who'd learned to sit at the adult table. Maybe it was her sitting there breaking up with me in front of an audience and not even having the decency to look remorseful about it. Maybe it was the sudden, crystal clear realization that this had been planned, orchestrated, and I'd been too stupid and too in love to see it coming. Great timing, I said. She looked at me, confusion replacing the cold determination in her eyes. What? I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out the ring box. I'd been carrying it around like an idiot, showing it off to people when they asked about the wedding, talking about how excited I was to start our life together. I opened it, held out my hand, and waited. For a second, she just stared. Then understanding dawned, and she slowly slipped the engagement ring off her finger and dropped it into the velvet interior. She didn't even resist, didn't ask me to reconsider or fight for what we'd had. Just handed it over like she was returning a library book. I snapped the box shut and stood up, raising my wine glass. The entire table was watching me now, with varying expressions of shock, amusement, and anticipation. To better decisions. Everyone stared. Richard's face was unreadable, but I caught a flicker of something that might have been respect. Monica looked horrified, like the evening had spiraled completely out of her control. "What are you doing?" Brittany asked, her voice small and uncertain for the first time all evening. "Making a better decision." I took a deliberate sip of wine, savoring the moment, then set the glass down with a soft clink that seemed to echo in the sudden silence. "Since we're being honest tonight, let me share something with all of you. This dinner cost $1,800. I paid for it. The wine I brought was $250s. The engagement ring I just took back was $8,500. The deposits on our wedding venue, catering, band, photographer, flowers, $12,000. All in my name, all refundable up to 30 days before the wedding." Monica actually gasped, her hand flying to her chest. "You're not. I'm canceling everything tomorrow morning, getting every penny back." Richard stood up, his face flushed with wine and indignation. "Now, hold on. Hold on for what? Your daughter just ended our engagement in front of her entire family like it was a game show, like it was entertaining. I think we're past holding on." I looked at Brittany. She was crying now, tears streaming down her face, but I felt nothing. No sympathy, no desire to comfort her, no regret. Just a strange, cold clarity. "You couldn't do this in private. You needed an audience for this." "I didn't plan this," she whispered, but we both knew that was a lie. "You didn't plan to humiliate me. Could have fooled me. Could have fooled everyone here, except I think they were all in on the joke." Kevin stood up, suddenly looking less amused. "Hey man, calm down." "Calm down? You laughed. You all laughed when she ended our engagement like it was the funniest thing you'd ever seen, like I was some kind of entertainment for your Saturday night." "We didn't mean—" "Yes, you did. You've meant it for 2.5 years. Every dig, every comment about how I'm not exciting enough or ambitious enough or man enough for your precious little princess. I took it because I loved her, but I'm done taking it." I grabbed my coat from the back of my chair and looked around the table one more time. These people who'd never accepted me, never respected me, never thought I was good enough for their daughter, who apparently agreed with them. "Enjoy the rest of your dinner. It's paid for. Consider it my parting gift." Then I added the rest, the part I'd been saving, the part that would hurt them where they lived. "And by the way, the condo you've been pressuring her to move into after the wedding, the one you said was too small for a married couple, I'm keeping it because it's mine, bought and paid for before I even met her. Something to remember when you're explaining to your friends why the wedding's canceled." I walked out without looking back, my footsteps echoing in the suddenly quiet private dining room. Got to my car, sat in the driver's seat, and realized my hands were shaking, not from fear or sadness, but from adrenaline, from finally standing up for myself after 2.5 years of being their punching bag. I sat there for a few minutes, letting it all sink in. Then I started the engine and drove home through the Minneapolis streets, feeling lighter than I had in months. I drove home in a fog, didn't cry, didn't rage, just felt numb. Got to my condo around 9:30 p.m. and walked inside to a space that suddenly felt different. All the wedding planning materials scattered on my dining table, the save-the-date cards we'd ordered, Brittany's shoes by the front door, her coffee mug in the sink. Everything looked like artifacts from someone else's life. I sat on the couch staring at nothing for about an hour. The quiet was deafening after the chaos of the restaurant. My phone started buzzing around 10:45. Her first, then Monica, then Richard, then Kevin. I declined all of them, watching their names light up my screen like some kind of desperate light show. Finally turned my phone off completely and went to bed, but sleep was impossible. I kept replaying the evening, analyzing every moment, every word, every laugh. Had this been planned from the beginning? How long had they been setting me up? How long had Brittany been thinking about ending things while letting me plan our future? Sunday morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. Couldn't sleep anyway, so I made coffee and sat on my balcony watching Minneapolis wake up. The city looked the same, but everything felt different. Turned my phone back on around 7 Wuxer and immediately regretted it. 38 missed calls, 54 text messages, all variations of the same themes: explanation, apology, anger. I didn't read any of them. Instead, I started making calls, first to the wedding venue. The manager was surprisingly understanding when I explained the situation. "It happens more than you'd think," she said. "Better now than after you're married." They processed the cancellation over the phone and confirmed the $4,200 refund would hit my account in 5 or 7 business days. The caterer was equally professional, $3,800 back. The band required a brief explanation, but $2,000 returned. The photographer was actually relieved. Apparently she'd had a family emergency and was dreading having to find a replacement. $2,000 refunded with genuine gratitude. By noon, I'd canceled everything. 12 phone calls, 12 confirmations, 12 emails in my inbox proving that 2.5 years of planning could be undone in 3 hours. It was almost anticlimactic. Then I texted Brittany. "Everything's canceled. Deposits being refunded. Don't contact me again." She called immediately. I declined. She called again. I declined again. Then the texts started flooding in. "Please let me explain. I made a mistake. My family pushed me into saying that. I didn't mean it. Please call me. We can fix this. We don't have to throw away everything we built. I love you. I know I hurt you, but we can work through this." I blocked her number. Monica tried next, leaving a voicemail that I played once then deleted. "We need to talk about this like adults. You can't just throw away 2.5 years because of one difficult conversation. Brittany is devastated. She needs you." I blocked her too. Richard sent a text. "You embarrassed our entire family at that restaurant. You owe us an apology. Call me." Blocked. By Sunday evening, I'd blocked everyone from her family. Went to the gym and worked out until my muscles screamed, until I couldn't think about anything except the burn in my lungs and the weight in my hands. Came home exhausted and ordered pizza, eating it in blessed silence. Monday morning arrived like any other Monday. I went to work, told my boss I needed to use some vacation days later in the month, days I'd scheduled for the honeymoon. Mark looked up from his computer with concern. "Everything okay?" I canceled my wedding. He blinked, processing. "Jesus, you okay?" "I will be." He didn't push for details, just said to take whatever time I needed. That's what I liked about Mark. He understood that sometimes the less you know about your employees' personal disasters, the better. Tuesday afternoon, she showed up at my building. The buzzer rang incessantly. I didn't answer. She kept trying, becoming more desperate with each attempt. Finally, Mrs. Henderson from 3B let her in because Brittany told her it was an emergency. The knocking started around 4:30, soft at first, then more insistent. "Please," she said through the door. "I know you're in there. Please just talk to me for 5 minutes." I looked through the peephole. She was crying, holding flowers, white roses, my favorite. The irony wasn't lost on me. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said those things. I was nervous and my family was putting all this pressure on me and I panicked." I stayed silent, watching her performance through the distorted lens of the peephole. "The wedding doesn't have to be canceled. We can still fix this. We can elope, just the two of us. Please." I walked away from the door, went to my bedroom, and put on headphones. She knocked for another 20 minutes before finally giving up. Wednesday, Kevin showed up at my office. Security called to ask if I wanted him sent up. I said no. He apparently waited in the lobby for over an hour before giving up, probably thinking his intimidation factor would wear me down. It didn't. Thursday, Brittany's best friend Melissa reached out via Instagram. Long message about how Brittany was devastated and had made a terrible mistake and really loved me. How the family had pressured her and she'd panicked. How I was throwing away something beautiful over one bad night. I deleted it without responding. Friday, exactly 1 week after the dinner, Brittany sent a handwritten letter delivered by mail. I recognized her careful cursive on the envelope. I held it for a moment, thinking about the woman who used to write me little notes and leave them in my laptop bag. Then I threw it away unopened. Some conversations are over before they start. That weekend, I began the process of erasing her from my space. Anything that was hers or reminded me of her had to go. Clothes she'd left over 8 months of gradually moving in, toiletries, books, decorations she'd picked out, the coffee maker she'd insisted we needed, throw pillows that matched nothing I owned, 4 garbage bags full of a relationship that had taken 2.5 years to build and could be donated in a single Saturday afternoon. I drove everything to Goodwill and came back to a space that finally felt like mine again, clean, uncluttered, free of someone else's compromises. Week 2. Post-dinner, Richard called from a different number. I answered without thinking, muscle memory betraying my better judgment. "We need to talk," he said. "No, we don't. You humiliated my daughter in front of our entire family. Your daughter humiliated me first, for 2.5 years. I just finally stopped accepting it. She wants to fix things. I don't. You're throwing away 2.5 years over one bad night. I'm not throwing away anything. She ended it. I just accepted it and moved on faster than she expected. You're being stubborn. I'm being done. There's a difference." He hung up. I blocked that number too. Week 3, mutual friends started reaching out. Most were supportive once they heard the story. A few suggested I was overreacting or being too harsh, that everyone deserves a second chance. I stopped responding to those ones. People who think you should tolerate disrespect in the name of forgiveness usually haven't been on the receiving end. My friend Carlos was different. He actually checked in on me, not fishing for gossip, but genuinely concerned. "That's brutal, man," he said over beers. "The way her family set you up like that." Yeah. The worst part is, I saw it happening and convinced myself it was normal family dysfunction. You did the right thing. Walking away took balls. Doesn't feel right yet, just feels like surviving. That's all you can do right now. Survive. The feeling better comes later. He was right, but later came sooner than expected. Month 2. After the dinner, I was starting to feel human again. Work was busy. Actually got that promotion opportunity I'd been waiting for. Senior analyst position with a 12K raise. Picked up rock climbing at Vertical Endeavors. Joined an investment club that met Tuesday nights. Reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with, while trying to make Brittany's family like me. The investment club was particularly interesting. 10 guys ranging from late 20s to early 50s, all sharing strategies for building wealth and independence. Turned out, 3 of them had similar stories. Toxic relationships they had walked away from, financial recovery, rebuilding their lives stronger than before. "Money is freedom," said James, a 41-year-old who divorced his controlling wife 2 years prior. "When you control your own finances, you control your own choices." Month 3, Brittany stopped trying to contact me directly, but her friends kept appearing like persistent salespeople. Different people, same script. "She misses you. She made a mistake. She's sorry. Give her another chance." Then Monica showed up at my gym, waiting outside like some kind of suburban stalker. "She's not doing well," Monica said. "Since you left, she's been depressed. Not eating, not sleeping." "That's not my responsibility anymore." "She made a mistake. People make mistakes." "She didn't make a mistake. She made a choice in front of her entire family after letting them mock me for years." "What about the 2.5 years you spent together?" "What about them? She ended those. I just stopped pretending they meant something to her." I walked away, blocked her number again. It's been 6 months since the engagement dinner. Brittany got engaged to someone else last month. Heard it through mutual friends. Some guy she apparently dated before me. Reconnected through social media. Good for them. I genuinely don't care. The money from the canceled wedding is growing in my investment account. The engagement ring money funded a solo trip to Iceland, something I'd always wanted to do but never had time for while accommodating someone else's schedule. I'm 34, single, own my own place, have a better job, real friends, and self-respect I'd forgotten I possessed. That's more than I had 6 months ago. Someone asked me recently if I regret how I handled that dinner, if I think I was too harsh, too public. No. She chose to end things publicly. I chose to accept it publicly. If she wanted privacy, she should have ended it in private. I learned something that night that every man should understand. There's a difference between accepting someone's flaws and accepting disrespect. Love doesn't mean letting people treat you like you're less than you are. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away with your dignity intact.